Why does everyone assume living alone after 70 means losing your independence, when the truth is that a few smart changes can actually give you more freedom and confidence than you've had in years? What if the fear keeping you up at night, worrying about falling or forgetting to turn off the stove, could be replaced with systems so simple and reliable that living alone becomes genuinely enjoyable again? Listen, I'm 72 years old, and I've been living alone for 6 years now. Not because I have to, but because I've learned how to do it safely and well. What I'm about to share are the specific changes that transformed my home from a place where I worried constantly about accidents and emergencies into a space where I feel secure, capable, and genuinely independent. These aren't expensive renovations or complicated technology. These are practical, affordable modifications that work in the real world, day after day. The single most important change I made, the one that probably saved me from a serious injury, was installing motion-activated nightlights throughout my path from bedroom to bathroom. Sounds simple, right? But here's what most people get wrong. They buy one bright light and stick it in the hallway. That's not enough. You need multiple lights, creating what I call a gentle runway. Soft, warm lights, not harsh, bright ones that shock your eyes at 3 in the morning. I placed one right by my bedside, another in the hallway, and 2 in the bathroom. Now when I get up at night, which happens more often than I'd like to admit, the path lights up automatically before I even think about reaching for a switch. No stumbling in darkness, no fumbling for light switches while half asleep and unsteady. Just gentle illumination guiding me safely where I need to go. But nightlights alone won't save you if you actually fall. So let me talk about fall detection technology, and more importantly, why you can't rely on it completely. I wear a fall detection device. It's supposed to alert emergency contacts if I take a hard fall. Supposed to. Technology fails. Batteries die. Sensors malfunction. So I built in a human backup system that's even more reliable. Every single morning at 9 o'clock, I send a text message to 3 people: my neighbor Martha, my daughter, and my friend from church. The message usually says something like, "Alive and grumpy," or "Still kicking. Coffee's terrible today." Just something so they know I'm conscious and functional. If they don't get that message by 9:30, they know something is wrong. Martha has a key to my house. She'll come check on me. This simple daily habit, combined with the technology, creates a safety net that actually works. In the evening, Martha and I have an even simpler system. At 7 o'clock, I tap my broom handle twice on the wall we share. She taps back twice. Takes 5 seconds. Costs nothing. But it means we both know the other person is okay. You don't need fancy technology for effective safety systems. You need consistent habits and people who care enough to participate in them. Now let's talk about the kitchen, because more accidents happen there than most people realize. Not dramatic falls, but burns, small fires, and near misses that accumulate into real danger over time. I installed smart plugs on every major appliance: coffee maker, toaster, electric kettle. I can control them from my phone, but more importantly, they're programmed to automatically shut off after 30 minutes. Cannot tell you how many times I've walked into the kitchen an hour after breakfast and realized I left the coffee maker on. Used to terrify me. Now it's just mildly annoying, because I know the worst that can happen is my coffee gets cold. I also reorganized my entire kitchen around what I call one-handed zones. Everything I use regularly sits at waist level, or just above. No reaching high, no bending low. Both of those movements make you lose your balance, especially when you're holding something hot or heavy. My frequently used pots, plates, glasses, and utensils all live in the easiest-to-reach spots. The fancy china I never use? That's up high now. I don't care if I can barely reach it because I'm not climbing on step stools anymore. That's how people break hips. I bought long oven mitts that go up to my elbows and heat-resistant shields that keep my hands and arms away from hot surfaces. Sounds paranoid until you realize that healing takes 3 times longer at 70 than it did at 50, and a serious burn can mean weeks of complications. I also put bright-colored tape on the edges of my cutting boards so I can see them clearly without my glasses on, reducing the chance of cutting myself when I'm chopping vegetables while the TV is on and I'm distracted. Distraction is real. Your attention span changes as you age. Your ability to multitask decreases. So you set up your environment to compensate for these normal changes rather than pretending they don't exist. The bathroom required the most serious safety overhaul, and I'll tell you exactly what I did because this room is where the most dangerous falls happen. Slippery surfaces, hard edges. You're often naked, wet, and vulnerable. I installed grab bars, and not the cheap suction cup kind that'll fail the first time you actually need them. Real grab bars, drilled into wall studs, rated to hold 300 pounds. I have 1 vertical bar next to the toilet, 1 horizontal bar inside the shower, and 1 angled bar near the bathtub edge. These aren't suggestions. These are necessities. I also put down textured non-slip stickers all over the shower floor and bathtub bottom. They're not pretty, but they're effective. I added a shower seat, which initially felt like admitting defeat. But now I realize it's just smart. Sitting while showering isn't weakness, it's stability. It means I can take my time, wash thoroughly, and not worry about balance or fatigue. I also placed non-slip mats both inside and outside the shower, secured with that double-sided tape that actually works. Here's something most people overlook completely. Rugs. Decorative rugs, bathroom rugs, hallway runners. Every single one is a tripping hazard. I removed most of mine. The ones I kept are secured with heavy-duty double-sided rug tape or non-slip backing that you can buy at any hardware store. I also replaced my high-door thresholds with low, tapered transitions so there's no lip to catch your toe on when you're walking from room to room. These subtle environmental dangers are invisible until they're not, until you're lying on the floor wondering what just happened. Front door security was another area I completely rethought. I installed a video doorbell so I can see who's at my door without opening it or even getting up. If I'm in bed, in the shower, or just don't feel like answering, I can check my phone and see who's there. But the real game changer was the smart lock with temporary access codes. I can generate a code that works for 4 hours and send it to a repair person, a delivery driver, or a friend who's stopping by. The code expires automatically. Martha, my neighbor, has a permanent code for emergencies. So does my daughter. This means if something happens to me and I can't get to the door, they can get in immediately. No breaking windows, no waiting for locksmiths while I might be unconscious on the floor. This brings me to community connection, which is honestly more important than any device or modification. I made it my business to know my neighbors beyond just polite hellos. I brought over cookies when new people moved in. I asked about their lives. I made myself visible and familiar. Now when they see my lights on at odd hours or don't see me taking my usual walk, they notice. That noticing could save my life someday. Too many seniors become invisible in their neighborhoods, and that invisibility is dangerous. I also built what I call a phone library, a list of accessible contacts that goes beyond family. My pharmacist's direct line, the community center where I volunteer, my doctor's office, my hairdresser who I see every month. These are people who would notice if I disappeared from my routine. I signed up for a volunteer wellness call program where someone calls me twice a week just to chat, It's free, it's friendly, and it's another layer of safety. If I don't answer, they keep calling and eventually contact my emergency person. Medication management deserves its own discussion because this is where cognitive changes can become genuinely dangerous. Missing doses, double dosing, mixing medications incorrectly. I use multiple systems working together. First, loud alarms on my phone that sound different for each medication time. Not gentle chimes I can ignore. Obnoxious alarms I have to actively silence. Second, I keep my medications in a visible spot right next to my coffee maker so I see them first thing every morning. Third, I use a weekly pill organizer that I fill every Sunday afternoon while watching my favorite TV show. The ritual helps me remember, and the organized layout prevents confusion. I also keep a medication list in multiple places. One on my refrigerator, one in my wallet, one in my "if I'm not here" drawer, which I'll explain in a moment. This list includes medication names, dosages, times, and what each one is for. If paramedics have to come to my house, they can grab this list immediately and know exactly what I'm taking. The "if I'm not here" plan was suggested to me by a firefighter friend, and it's one of the smartest things I've done. I have a drawer in my kitchen clearly labeled "Important, Life or Death" in big letters. Inside is a folder containing my medication list, emergency contacts, medical conditions, allergies, insurance information, and specific instructions. Who feeds my cat if I'm hospitalized? Who waters my plants? Where my spare house key is hidden? Who my lawyer is? This information is organized, accessible, and removes the burden of detective work from people trying to help me in a crisis. I update it every 6 months. It's an act of kindness to myself and to anyone who might need to step in and help. Physical fitness and balance maintenance are non-negotiable if you want to stay independent. But I'm not talking about joining a gym or following complicated exercise programs. I'm talking about simple, sustainable movements integrated into your daily routine. I keep a balance pad near my bathroom sink and stand on it for 30 seconds while brushing my teeth. Twice a day. Every day. That's a minute of balance practice built into something I'm already doing. I keep light resistance bands hanging in my hallway and do 10 arm raises every time I walk past them. I keep 2-pound weights next to my favorite chair and do bicep curls during commercial breaks. These aren't intense workouts. They're gentle, consistent movements that maintain the strength and balance I need to catch myself if I start to fall, to lift a pot safely, to get up from the toilet without assistance. You lose what you don't use, and muscle loss accelerates dramatically after 70. But you can slow that loss significantly with tiny efforts repeated consistently. I also changed my footwear entirely. No more slippery socks, no more loose slippers. I wear shoes with good grip and support from the moment I get out of bed until I get back in at night. Yes, shoes in the house. This was hard for me at first because I was raised to take shoes off inside. But safety trumps tradition. Good shoes mean stable footing on any surface, and stable footing means not falling. Let me talk about something harder to quantify but equally important. Mental and emotional safety. Living alone can be isolating if you let it. I made a deliberate choice not to become invisible. I volunteer at the community center twice a week. I attend a book club monthly. I have a standing, coffee date with friends every Thursday morning. These aren't just social activities. They're accountability systems. If I don't show up and don't call, people notice. They check on me. Beyond safety, these connections give me purpose and joy. They keep my mind active and my spirits up, which affects my physical health more than most people realize. I also built in daily structure and routine because consistency reduces cognitive load and makes it easier to notice when something is wrong. I wake up at the same time, eat meals at the same time, take medications at the same time. This predictability means I'm more likely to notice if I feel confused, unusually tired, or just off in a way that might signal a health problem developing. Here's something nobody talks about: the fear of being found dead days later. It's a real fear for people who live alone. My system of daily check-ins, wellness calls, and neighbor connections means I won't be lying on my floor for days before someone finds me. That knowledge alone reduces anxiety and helps me sleep better at night. I'm not paranoid, I'm prepared. There's a huge difference. Cost is always a concern, so let me be clear. Everything I've described can be done on a modest budget spread over time. Motion-activated nightlights cost $15 for a pack of 3. Smart plugs are $10 each. Non-slip stickers and rug tape are cheap. The video doorbell was the most expensive single item at around $150, but it's lasted 3 years and counting. Grab bars require professional installation if you're not handy, but it's a one-time expense that could prevent a $20,000 hospital stay and months of recovery. Perspective matters. Start with the highest impact, lowest cost changes first. Nightlights and non-slip bathroom modifications should be week 1. Daily check-in system with a neighbor should be week 2. Kitchen organization and smart plugs, week 3. Build incrementally rather than trying to do everything at once. Each improvement reduces risk and increases confidence. I also want to address pride, because pride kills seniors. Actually kills them. Pride says I don't need grab bars, I'm not that old yet. Pride says I don't need a shower seat, that's for feeble people. Pride says I can still reach that top shelf without help. Pride is dangerous nonsense. Smart adaptation isn't weakness, it's intelligence. It's choosing continued independence over a broken hip and 6 months in a nursing home. Every single modification I've made has expanded my independence, not diminished it. The goal isn't to eliminate all risk. That's impossible. The goal is to reduce preventable accidents and build systems that get help quickly if something does go wrong. With these changes in place, I live alone, confidently. I'm not afraid of falling because I've minimized the conditions that cause falls. I'm not afraid of medical emergencies because people check on me regularly. I'm not afraid of forgetting medications because I have multiple backup systems. I'm not afraid of kitchen fires because my appliances shut off automatically. This is what successful aging in place looks like. Not pretending you're still 40. Not refusing help out of stubborn pride. But instead, thoughtfully adapting your environment and routines to match your current capabilities while maintaining maximum independence and quality of life. Small changes, repeated daily, that add up to safety, confidence, and genuine enjoyment of living alone. So here's what I want you to do. Choose 3 changes from what I've described. Just 3. Start there. Maybe it's motion-activated nightlights, a daily check-in system with a neighbor, and bathroom grab bars. Maybe it's smart plugs, medication alarms, and kitchen reorganization. Choose what addresses your biggest fears or your most obvious risks. Implement those 3 changes this month. Get them working reliably. Then add 3 more next month. Talk to your neighbors. Build those connections. Share your plan. Ask if they'd be willing to participate in a daily check-in system. Most people want to help, but don't know how. You're giving them a specific, manageable way to be helpful. Create your "If I'm Not Here" drawer this week. Right now while you're thinking about it. In the future, you will thank the present you for that preparation. Living alone after 70 can be scary, isolating, and dangerous if you do nothing. Or it can be safe, connected, and genuinely satisfying if you're willing to make smart adaptations. You get to choose which version you want. Choose preparation over fear. Choose connection over isolation. Choose smart adaptation over stubborn pride. Your independence depends on it. Make these changes. Do it now. Your future self is counting on you.